there are many different ways of designing, let's say, front end elements, custom elements for Salesforce ecosystem. Can you kind of, I guess, tell me about some of the different ways that you've created components or different elements for custom UI on Salesforce?
Let's see. Yeah, let me think about this one because it's definitely quite a few. So one of them, let's see, it was a LWC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think in regards to the reason, the business use behind this reason. It was in regards to um, you uploading the CSV file that will essentially allow you to bulkify or be able to bulk upload certain records based off of the CSV file roles in there. So it was a need to upload from the CSV file to create records in Salesforce CRM system.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially what I was going through is this step-by-step process. And you'll go through uploading the template to when this one particular thing, validating the data that was getting pulled out from the CSV file, and also then confirming, verifying that you want to upload it and create those records in your Salesforce org. So it's definitely like a huge step process in regards to that. It was like at least 5 steps. The 2-3 steps that I can remember is like uploading the CSV file, which required some third-party JS browsing CSV file library.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Browser or something like that. And then from there, we had this template that I created that essentially did some validation on the fields that was uploaded, that was getting pulled in as a JSON. And before I created the records, it was into this JSON format that will populate into to this template. And the validation was happening on the HTML side to say, hey, this is not fitting this certain format. So for example, like the zip code, it had a certain format that it should apply by, either like a 5-digit or 5-digit dash, 4-digit, or just leave blank. And I had to add that regular expression into the HTML file to ensure that that validation was ran when I was looking at that template. And then if there was anything that was coming up on that template, it'll show those multiple rows of each particular template role, and ensuring that that particular validation was hit if it wasn't meeting that particular format. So you can correct it within that template before you click verification to upload that to that file, upload that data to the CRM to create those records.
Yeah, that definitely seems complex, and there's a few things that I want to maybe unpack there, which is kind of cool. But overall, that project sounds really great. So I think the first question I have as a follow-up is, what were the limitations that made you decide to make this an LWC versus trying to do things more with declarative automations like flows and other things that Salesforce has?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because one of the things that you could have done was, doing it through a list view kind of thing, but there was some limitation in regards to selecting record types for this list view. And with this particular customization, I was able to select 2 different or 4 different record types before I uploaded those records to say, hey, this is the record type that I want to select for this particular group of bulk uploads that I want. And it was just like that customization that allowed you to do that, where the list views didn't allow you to have that customization to select the records when you're bulk uploading the records automatically. It was like a default or something to it.
Mm-hmm.
And some other limitations that the out of the box features wasn't going to allow you to do it.
Awesome. So you mentioned you made this as a Lightning Web component. some kind of similar question. Why didn't you make this an Aura component or a Visual Force page?
Oh, well, I mean, those things aren't really following the current standards. And well, I would say one of the reasons why I would say is because LWC is the most latest web standards of like creating the UI for the customization. Aura components is the old standard and is just too cumbersome to do some of the things, but it can definitely do the things that the Lightning Web Component could do. But it's just a way simpler format of handling the files and stuff, and just the current web standard.
Awesome. And then probably maybe the last question on this is just around, you mentioned a few different file formats like JSON and CSVs. Can you kind of talk to me about what potential file formats are important to know as a developer?
So yeah, CSVs are definitely important. PDFs and Excel formats and stuff. The reason behind that is because some things are much easier to load in. And there might be some libraries, like I was telling you before, that the CSV file library reader that I was using was able to read CSV headers to know which headers to read in, and also which rows to read in to load into a particular JSON format. So yeah, it was like, using the current libraries that I didn't have to write myself, but using the current tools that someone else wrote that allowed me to utilize and put the things that I need to do to connect the dots and fulfill that functionality and fill that business need.
Cool. Yeah. And definitely for business users, they're going to be used to things like Excel and CSVs for their processing. In a similar vein, when you're kind of working with integrations and, let's say, processing data there, are there, other than JSON, are there any other file formats that you have worked with or that you are that you should be aware of as a developer?
I mean, PDFs is for sure. Trying to think of some other ones, maybe text, because sometimes text, you read in text with some JSON, some mock-up JSON stuff, so you can get some test data to see what the Lightning Web Component can read in. So probably text, dot text formats. So yeah, I think so. I think that's probably.
The other thing that I'm kind of wanting to know if you have experience with is working with XML files as well. So being able to process that. So do you have any experience with XML files and how they kind of work when you're processing those?
Yeah. It's been a while. Like this going back to like SOAP API calls and stuff and getting those values in. So yeah, I got some experience doing that, but most of the time I got experience with using JSON format and using JSON objects. But if it came around and come back around, I'd just back up on it. But I can't tell you exactly how to read it up right now.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's definitely more rare nowadays to get XML data streams back, but they do exist out there. But most things are JSON based when they come through.